What if you could change one thing that would completely affect your business on Fiverr for the positive? I often work with voiceover talents and look at their Fiverr gigs. I look at the title, the description, your gig image, your video, all the contents within, your purposes, your tones, your tags. There is so much that goes into it. Your FAQs, your requirements. There is a whole lot. But what if you made one small change to your gig and it would dramatically elevate your Fiverr gig? In this video, we're looking at a Fiverr gig that I reviewed for Rod. Let's go. My name is Brian from Ridgeback Productions, and I help beginning voiceover artists grow their business and generate more income, often much more income. So let's have a look at Rod's Fiverr voiceover gig. The first thing that I want to look at is his title. His title is, I will record male e-learning voiceover in an American accent. I like it. I think that's a dynamic title. That works great. He's got voiceover in there. You always have to have the word voiceover in there. He has record. He lets buyers know that he is male. He has an American. Everything's there that you're looking for. I like it. Now, let's put a pin in that and come back to that because I'm going to ask him to change his title, which is odd, right? Because I said, I love it and I do love it, but we're going to put a pin in that and come back to it. The next thing we're looking at is his voiceover section for 2-day delivery, $5 for 100 words. I like his price. I like his word count. That's great. For a beginning VO, a new seller on Fiverr, $5, 100 words is great. I would like to see 2 days change to 1-day delivery if possible. The thing about that is if a buyer goes on to Fiverr and they are looking for a voiceover and they put in their search and then let's say they search male e-learning American accent. I mean, they're dialing in his title and then maybe you're not aware of it, but buyers can actually filter out certain aspects. So let's say they filter out that they want 24-hour delivery. Well, if they search male e-learning American accent and they filter out 24-hour delivery, Rod's not going to show up. So how do we fix that? We're going to change that to a 1-day delivery if possible. Now, I say that with the caveat being always, if you are not able to deliver in 1 day, you don't feel comfortable with your editing skills, this is a side business, you can't turn it around as quickly, whatever your reason is, I don't need to know the reason. I trust you. This is your business. You do you. However, if you are able to deliver in 1 day, I highly recommend it because within this price range of $5, it kind of goes together that buyers are looking for an inexpensive VO for $5, but they also want it fast. So if you're able to deliver fast, which is 24-hour delivery, I would highly recommend that. So that is one thing that I would change if possible. Now let's have a look at his gig image/video. I gotta say, I love this. I'm really liking this. So what we have is a nice, strong image of Rod. He's taking up about 50% of the screen. That's good. I always recommend you go for about 50 to 60%. Nice big smile. His eyes are open. Nice eye contact. He's welcoming in the buyers and letting them feel comfortable and wanting to buy from him. This is a strong image with a strong video that's attached to it. His title, American Male Voiceover. It could be a little bit bigger to stand out because what we have is a lot of negative space in the background, which is fine, but I would like to see the text be popping a little bit more. Maybe stack it with American Male Voiceover. Now, I'm just picking this apart to be constructive. I really do like this image. It says professional, articulate, affordable, quick delivery. I like all that. That is good. So if I had to make one small change, I would make American Male Voiceover be bigger and maybe stack it in the image. Okay, so remember earlier when I said I like his title, but I definitely think he should make a small change to his title? We're going to get to that in just one moment. Now, listening to his demos, he has 3 demos on here. His first demo, which is a video, and I love it. It is perfect. That's exactly what you should do. His first gig is a video of e-learning. So it's just over a minute of an e-learning video that maybe he did for a client or he did as a demo, whatever the case is. It's great. It's e-learning. It looks good. The second demo is meditation. It sounds great. He has a great voice for meditation. The second one is meditation. The third one sounds almost like a news article or news reporting or something along those lines. So let's go back and think about this. The first demo is e-learning. The second one is meditation. The third one is a news article. Now, if you have 3 different genres of voiceover, but your title says, I'll record a male e-learning voiceover in an American accent, I think it's conflicting. If you want to make a gig, and you can have multiple gigs, and I highly recommend it to the talents I work with, if you're going to have a gig that says male e-learning, all 3 demos should be only e-learning. You want to show the buyer that that's what you do. If I'm a buyer and I search out Rod and I find him and I go to click on him and his first demo is e-learning, I'm like, I love this. I go to his another demo. I want to hear, what else can you do? And it's meditation. You're going to throw me off. No matter how good that meditation is, and believe me, it's really good, it's not e-learning, and that's what your title says. So I'm like, okay, let me check out the third demo, and the third demo is now news. You're showing that you have range, but the problem is your title says it's e-learning. And if you draw me in as a buyer to e-learning and you're not giving me that in your demos, I'm not going to hire you. So what do? Simple. Change your title. Change your title, and then there's not a whole lot more that you would have to adjust on this gig. Just make the title different. So what I would do is I would make it a general gig. I'd make it something to the effect of, I will be your American male voiceover, or I will be your male American accent voiceover, or I will voice over your American male accent, whatever you want to use those words, phrase it in however you want, but that's the idea. I would make this a general one, because then if your title is you're just a general American accent male voiceover, then you can demo your e-learning, your meditation, your news, that maybe that's what you like doing. That's what I would do. I would change the title. It's throwing me off. If a buyer comes here for e-learning and they hear that, that's not helping. Okay, let's scroll down. We're now looking at the About This Gig section. The About This Gig section needs to literally be only about the gig. Without even looking at it yet and discussing it, I can tell you, if I see anything that is about you as the seller, you as a voiceover artist, I'm going to say that's in the wrong section. The About This Gig is only about the gig, how you're going to serve the client, how you're going to help the buyer, how you're going to give them what they're looking for. So having a look at this, thank you for visiting my Fiverr gig. What a great way to welcome them into your gig. I'm an adult male voiceover. With this gig, I can help you. Good. Boom. Get right into it. With this gig, I can help you, and then say how you're going to help them. I provide e-learning work for corporate. Great. Now you're giving a range. So if your title is e-learning, this is a good About This Gig, because you do e-learning for corporate, startup, personal work. Now here's what I don't like. I'm new to the industry. I wouldn't say that. I would never say that you're new to the industry, because what a buyer hears when they read that is, I'm not qualified to do this yet. And as a buyer, I don't want to hire someone that's not qualified yet. I want to hire someone that's going to be banging at it. So you don't need to say it. Now, you're not lying. You're not trying to say I'm experienced. I have years of doing this. Just don't say that you're new at it. Don't say that you're beginning. He has a lot of great content about this. He's experienced in sound editing and production, professional speaking, online education. That's all great stuff. And there's buyers that are going to eat that up. That's a wonderful thing, but it's in the wrong section. That needs to be about the seller, not about the gig. So take that section, drop it down. In my careers in production, about me. Okay, all that needs to be about the seller. So what we have is a short couple sentences about this gig. If you take all the rest of it and bump it down into where it should be about the seller, now you have just a short section about this gig. You don't want that. What you want is a lengthy, long section about the gig, because that's where Fiverr's algorithm is going to draw in from the searches. Okay, so the way it works is the first thing is the title, then the description, and then the tags. If your title's banging, which this one is, but your description is lacking because it only has a couple words, that's not going to help. Now, true, his description, this is where it gets a little tricky. His description is long, but it's long with the wrong content. This content is about the seller. If a seller comes here, they want to hear about the gig and how it's going to help them and how it's going to service them, how it's going to give them exactly what they're looking for. They don't necessarily want to read the biography of the seller. That goes in the next section down. Now, having a look at his specifics, language is English. He has an accent, which is English American, great, gender male, age range adult, all good things. Purpose. You can have 3 purposes. He has video narration and e-learning. Right away, you should have 3 purposes no matter what. There's always a third that you can pick. Now, depending on what he's going to do. Now, if he keeps e-learning, I want these purposes to be video narration, e-learning, and animation. Animation is more than just cartoons. It's also animations for whiteboard animations and stuff that fit into that e-learning genre. I love that he has video narration. Video narration is the number 1 purpose for Fiverr voiceover purposes. So absolutely and always include video narration where possible. Video narration is essentially anywhere that a voiceover track is added onto a video, which is almost everything with the exception of some things like maybe radio. But you should be open to doing video narration because it fits into almost every different genre that you would want to do voiceover. Now, if Rod's going to do just a general gig, like a general American male voiceover gig, then his 3 purposes should be video narration, e-learning, and meditation. Because he already has demos for those up on his gig, might as well use those. Now, looking at his tones, he has authoritative, calming, casual, corporate, other. I like these tones. I wouldn't use other. Now, I understand why he put other because he's trying to let the buyer know I can do other things. I'm not just trapped within these confines of authoritative, calming, casual, corporate. However, other, it's too vague. What I would do is the most dynamic, the most bang for your buck. It's huge right now in the voiceover industry is conversational. I would change other into conversational because conversational fits into almost every genre and certainly video narration, e-learning, maybe not so much meditation, but it's definitely a good one to have in there. Conversational, make sure you have conversational in your tone 100%. So your purpose should always have video narration and your tone should always have conversational. So now we're looking at the About the Seller section, which we discussed earlier when he was going over the description. Most of that should be dropped down into About the Seller. So he's from the United States. Great. He's been a member since this date. Response time, 1 day. Love it. Great response time. That'll work. Languages, English, Spanish, huge. That's going to help him tremendously. And then we have his last delivery. Okay, so his About the Seller, I'm new. I struggle with that when I see that. So don't put new. So what I would do is just get rid of new. Just put, I'm a male voiceover actor with an American accent. I record my voice for e-learning content, meditation, all the range of work he does. Great. I'm excited to be starting this new venture in my life. Don't put that. It's great that you are, and I believe it, and I love seeing that. However, don't put it in your description. It gives the buyer the perception you're not qualified, and you are qualified. I listened to these demos. He's hireable. He is really, really good. The problem is, if I'm a buyer and I hear that, great, but I see that you're just starting this new venture, I want to at least have the perception that you've been doing this for a while. So I wouldn't openly admit that you're brand new to it. I'm ready to exceed your expectations with the content that I produce for you. I love it. Thank you for giving my voice a shot. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So the thing to change is go into the description, take the parts where he was talking about himself as the seller, move that down into About the Seller. You'll now have a longer About the Seller. Change your description to be more about the gig, not so much Rod the seller. Looking at his order details, I love it. He's got details. That's what I look for when I review a gig. I'm not so much concerned about your prices. I'm not going to tell you the prices that you should be charging for things. I just want to see that you're offering it because they're options that buyers have to purchase more things and you get more money off certain services. So definitely offer the services. I like it. All right, looking at his FAQ, love it. I don't see a lot of beginning voiceover talents that have this filled out. You should be using every possible thing that Fiverr is offering you. Fill everything out as much as possible, and he has lots of FAQs. What are commercial rights, full broadcast, when will I deliver? All you got to do is go into your description, go into your about this gig, think of things that clients have asked you or buyers have asked you, make it an FAQ. Fill out everything. Fiverr loves it when you're using their service to the max, and they reward you for that by putting you higher in the search. And our final section here is on tags. So looking at his tags, you can have 5 tags. He has 5 tags. Male voiceover, actor, teaching, American learning. So what you want to do is you want to make your tags be using words that are not in your title already or not in your description. So when someone searches on Fiverr, the ranking is, it looks at the title, the description, and the tag. So you don't want your tags to repeat words that are already in your title or already in your about this gig description. I know he already has male voiceover in his title. Maybe it was in his description. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm picking apart his tags to see if it was in the title or description. If it was, don't use it, come up with the other ones. Now, the other thing about tags is you can include up to 3 words with 20 characters max. So let's say these were the words that he's using. I would take actor and teaching and make that one tag, actor space teaching. It's fine. Because the way it works is it doesn't matter if words are together for your tags. If he has actor teaching as one keyword phrase, if a buyer searches actor, he'll show up. If a buyer searches teaching, he'll show up. If a buyer searches actor teaching, he'll show up. If they search teaching actor, he'll show up. The order doesn't matter. So piece them all together. You can have up to 3 words, 20 character max. Fill those out. So by putting character and teaching together, now all of a sudden he has another available keyword. Putting American and learning together, he now has another one open. So you're just trying to maximize your exposure by having as many options as you possibly can. So fill that out completely. 20 characters, up to 3 words, smash in whatever you can in those tags to fit it all in. So if we look at the very bottom of the screen for more services, you can see that Rod has multiple gigs. Yes, I love it. It's like fishing. If you're going to go fishing and you have the option to put out a bunch of fishing poles to catch fish, put as many fishing poles out as you possibly can. Don't just put one fishing pole out, one gig, to try and attract fish, the buyers, but a bunch of fishing poles out so you can catch. So he has podcast, explainer, virtual assistant, mail meditation. Perfect. I'm not doing a review of all these gigs, but I can tell you right from the jump that do not use the same image for all of your gigs. These all are the same. They're going to stand out. As a buyer, if I see one picture and it looks the same, I'm just going to assume it's the same gig and it's an accident, even though it's doubled up, even though the titles are different. So my small suggestion, use a different image for each of your gigs. So I just did a Fiverr gig review for Rod in his I will record a male e-learning voiceover and an American accent. The key takeaways is I would have a general gig. Now I noticed at the bottom that he does have multiple gigs. I would have one general gig. This one, the description covers many different genres. So if this is his e-learning gig, then make your demos be all e-learning. Don't have a meditation and don't have one that sounds like it's almost like news article-ish. I would have all 3 demos be e-learning because your title says e-learning, you're drawing the buyer into e-learning, your demos need to be all e-learning. I like the image, looks good, open eyes, big smile, it's friendly. A buyer's going to want to click on this image. If I could adjust the title in the image, I would stack it to make it bigger, American male voiceover. In fact, if this is e-learning, then it should say e-learning voiceover. Don't make the buyer confused. Don't make them have to think. If the title says one thing, but the title in the image says something different, it's confusing. You don't want to confuse the buyers. Overall, I think this is amazing. I love all the work he put into it. There's so much greatness here. I'm liking the pricing. If I can adjust the voiceover delivery time to 1 day, that's going to be a huge change. And if you're looking for a male e-learning voiceover with an American accent, you're not going to go wrong with Rod. His demos are killer. Sounds like he's also an educator, so he knows quite a little bit about teaching, and I bet he can put that into his readings. If you're interested in hiring him, check out the link in the description below and you can go straight to his gig. This is just an example of what I do with the talents I work with. If you're interested in having your Fiverr gig reviewed, reach down into the description below and it says Ridgeback Productions /review me. I would be happy to have a look at your gig. Let's see what we can do with small actionable advice to really grow your Fiverr business. Thank you for joining me today, and I'd like to know, do you have one general gig that you're focusing on, or do you have many mini gigs out there with like fishing poles and you're trying to catch fish, trying to catch your buyers with as many options as you possibly can? It's a great idea, and if you're not doing it, I highly suggest it. I appreciate your support. Until next time.